Oh, I hope he ain't about to play no music. Please tell me you ain't about to play no music. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, so welcome. This is Glistening July. We do all things travel, well, hospitality. We do flight. We do transportation, accommodations, food and beverage, recreation, cruises, and I never can remember the other two. But nevertheless, we are here, and I have tried my best to go live every day, but that did not work. And so we're starting over again on this channel because my goal is to get to 500 subscribers and then to 1,000. So let's first start at the 500 mark. All right. So I am talking about your first time flying today. And I realized when I was going live, I want to say that was Thursday, that a lot of people do not know how to get on a plane. Like they have no idea what to do after they buy the ticket. So I wanted to take today to just go over that because I was like kind of baffled at how you don't know what you're doing when you get on the plane, but after you buy the ticket, but it's a lot that go on. So if you've never traveled before, and this is specifically for the United States, there are other carriers that are domestic to international travel or that have a base here in the United States, but their headquarters is in another country. So if you never traveled, the first thing you have to do is find your ticket. And with Google now having access to the Sabre system, which is how you see how much a flight is, you have to put in the city that you're leaving from on any type of Sabre system. Are there other systems? Yes. But I know Sabre because that's what we used when, I think we used Sabre at American Airlines. That was over almost 30 years ago. Um, yeah, that was 30 years ago. Now I'm thinking about it. Over 30 years. But we used, I believe, a Sabre Systems. And you have to put in the city you're leaving from in the state, and you have to put in the city and the state you're going to on whatever app whatever you use to buy your ticket. The only company that gives you a discount to date, sometimes if you get your tickets through them, is Frontier. The rest of the companies, they do charge you. They typically charge you $30 to book with the agent at the ticketing counter. So when somebody takes Frontier, they're not really a traveler based on my experience. And I've only had this issue at Frontier. I've never had it at Delta, American, United, or Southwest. I've only had this issue at Frontier where they don't know where they're going. They don't know when they're coming back, and they really don't know what days they're going. So they're sitting up there and they're wasting their time. So I'm making this video for anybody who's never traveled before. I need you to do your research on the internet. I need you to put in flights from the city you're in and flights to the city you're going to. And typically it's a 3-digit code. The more you travel, the more you'll learn a 3-digit code. Some of the airports, the major ones, I do know because I worked for American Airlines. That was one of my first jobs out of high school. And when you go, like when you book your flight, whoever books the flight for you, if you go in person to Frontier, so let's talk about specifically Frontier, I need you to be prepared. I need you to know their schedule. I need you because it makes it a better experience for me, and it makes it a better experience for the other person on the other end, which is the front, which is the hello, thank you, Judah. I think that's how you say that, but thank you. So it makes it a better experience. So what I realized is that Frontier agents, they have attitudes because they deal with a lot of people who this is their first time. Like I really was upset originally, like and making fun of the people, but then I realized like, oh smack, it's a large group of people who've never traveled before. Like they've never gotten on the plane. They don't know what's going on, how to get there, how to get back. Thank you. And King. I don't know how to say the first name, but I apologize. But they don't know anything of what they're doing. And the thing with this channel is every video you see, every video I post, every short I post, I've actually been there. This is my experience. I didn't take it from somebody else. I didn't download a video and then put my name on it or cut it or whatever. No, that was me in the moment. And so Frontier agents, they're dealing with people who've never traveled before. And rarely are they dealing with someone who travels frequently. If they're traveling with somebody, if they're dealing with someone who travels frequently, that person is typically me, somebody who's looking for the lowest cost flight. That's it. So when I go to the ticket counter to see if the flight on Frontier is cheaper at the ticket counter versus online, this is me just taking a chance. Now, I can do that because I work 15 minutes from the airport. Like, I do this all the time. It's not new to me. So I'll drive up, park right in front of the door, go in, watch my car the whole time, make sure the police don't give me a ticket, get my ticket, and then leave and drive off. Now, you can park at the parking garage. In my city, you get 30 minutes free in the garage, but I don't have time to do that. By the time I walk from my car in the garage and to the ticket counter and wait and go back, I done passed 30 minutes. And then the ticket, your first ticket, if you park in front of the door, is $25 with the city. Now, will they go up on that? They probably will go up on that price, but I'm just telling you in my city how much they charge to park. It is, to me, hello, Gabriel, shout out. But to me, this is a smaller city. I do think that we do have two major airports in the state of Ohio, one in Cleveland and one in Columbus. Columbus Airport, in my opinion, has the most room to grow because it's surrounded by open land. There is not an airport in Cincinnati, Ohio. The airport in Cincinnati, Ohio is actually located in northern Kentucky. Does that airport have room to grow? Yes, it is, and it's actually a Delta hub. So there you have it about the whole breakdown in the major airports. There is an airport in Toledo, and I've never flown out of the Toledo airport. I know a lot of people from Toledo used to fly out of DTW because it's not that far from the Detroit airport. I want to say it's maybe about a 45-minute drive to the Detroit airport from Toledo. But getting back to Frontier. So I realized that the people at Frontier, one, they're probably inexperienced travelers and don't travel that much. And then they deal with the clientele, and the type of person they hire doesn't have great customer service. So they're dealing with a clientele that does not know what they have no idea what they're doing, and Frontier has automated so much of their business model. So they've taken the power of customer service out of the ticketing counter, and they've placed it now to a call center that's in the Philippines. So when you have an issue with your flight, or if you miss your flight, they give you a little card, and I've thrown the card away. And this card, you can call the number. The number will ask you, do you want to, text and speak, or do you want to talk to an agent? I always want to talk to somebody because I'm not a big texter. Because by the time you done told me something in 1 minute, it take me 5 minutes to explain in a text message what I'm talking about. So that's my point on that. But when you book your flight through Frontier, you need to download their app. I had their app on my phone. I don't think it's on this phone. I think it's on the phone I'm talking on. No, it's not. So as soon as you book your flight with Frontier, whether you go to the ticket counter or you do it online, you need to download their app. When you download their app, that is where you're going to purchase your bags. If you purchase your bags on the app, it is cheaper than going to the counter. Frontier is going to charge you they take bags an hour before your flight departs. Frontier's gate, their door. Every other carrier is 15 minutes. Frontier's doors close 20 minutes before the flight departs. If your flight is leaving at 5 o'clock, that door for Frontier will be closing at 5 o'clock. Not 5 o'clock, 4:40, okay? So if your flight is leaving at 5:20, the door for the flight closes at 5 o'clock. They are not reopening the gate. That is in their carriage policies. They'll tell you that. I had to tell someone the other day that the reason why they don't open the door again after they close it is because the FAA that's the Federal Aviation Administration. They give the power of when you open and close to close the doors based on the carrier. But you need time to do the flight manifest. The flight manifest tells you everybody who is on your flight, that flight. There is not supposed to be any baggage on the flight if that passenger is not on the flight. So a lot of times when your bags get on like the major carriers, American, United, and Delta, and you are not on that flight, they have violated a rule. But nobody cares that their flight got there before them. All they care about is that their bag got there before them. All they care about is that the bag is there. So that's a whole nother conversation. But somebody recently posted a video where the guy closed the door in front of them, and then after they closed the door, they open the door back up and scan somebody else's ticket who walked up at the last minute, which is in violation of their carrier policy. So the FAA requires that all airline carriers come up with their way of they're going to operate, and then they report that to the federal government, the Federal Aviation Administration. If you violate your own rules, you can then be fined by the FAA. It's just that simple. Like, they tell you, like, this is your business, you can run your business, these are our rules. But because these are our rules, okay, we want to know what is convenient for conducive for your organization and what's not. And that's one of the things that's like, you need time to pull that flight manifest. You need time to make sure all the bags for the people who you say are on that flight is on that flight. So that's why that door closes. But going back to the way Frontier operates. So once you get your flight, you're going to get 6 letters. I believe they're all letters. I may have had numbers before, but I'm not for sure. Some companies, American, Delta, United, Southwest, and Frontier, some of them use letters and numbers. Some use all letters. None of them ever use all numbers unless it's your ticket number. Your ticket number is all numbers. All of the major carriers you can put in your ticket number, and the information will it'll give you proof of like how much you paid for the ticket, when the ticket was purchased. The confirmation number will do that too. But it used to be when you went into a dispute with a company about your flight and how much you paid and what have you, they would want the ticket number. But now, because they've progressed and technology has improved, they'll just settle for the confirmation number, which is those 6 is numerical or digits, or it could be a combination of both. It depends on the carrier. And then that gives them your confirmation number tells the airline company around what time or what month you purchased your ticket. So if it's ever a doubt, like, oh, I purchased this, last month, they're like, no, you purchased this 5 years ago. We don't have this ticket. Like, they can really go in and look at that information, because now we're dealing with historical data, and this company has been around. I think somebody just hit 100 years. I can't remember who. I think American is coming on 100 years. I think Delta just came on 100 years. I don't know. Somebody just hit 100 years. So with Frontier, though, everything is on their app. Everything. There is nothing. You can't talk to nobody on the phone, like, unless they give you that card and you remember the number. You can't, change your flight. They tell their ticketing counter to route all calls to this customer service. Why? Because they're friendly. And the ones that I've met that work for Frontier in the United States, they are not friendly. They try to be friendly. They put on a fake like they're friendly, but they're not friendly. And then the people who come and buy their tickets, they have no idea what they're doing. Like, it's nothing against you if you've never flown or you don't fly that much, but you don't know what you're doing. You really don't. And you're wasting a lot of time. And so, because you're wasting a lot of time, a lot of this needs to be pre-thought out. If you're going with a group of people, sit the group of people, all y'all come together. It could be on a conference call. It could be a FaceTime call. Sit down, somebody get out a notebook, and you put down the city you going to, the city you leaving from, and the city you going to. What airports are near there? Like in Orlando, there's the Sanford Orlando Airport, and then there's Orlando, MCO. Those are 2 airports. Where are you coming from? What date are you leaving? What day are you returning? Okay, and then Google that date, those dates. Look at what time is the cheapest. If you really are pressed for money in your budget, but you're looking for the cheapest flight, and that's why you're at the counter at Frontier, know what time that flight is. Because what I also learned from Frontier is that there are different schedules online that they don't have available at the ticket counter. So because there are different schedules online, you may not see the same thing. So know what time your flight is departing from your departure city, and know what time your flight is departing from the city that you're leaving from. So for example, if I am going from Chicago, I'm at ORD, because there are two airports in Chicago. There's ORD and Midway. Midway is heavily operated by Southwest, but other carriers fly into Midway as well. So if you're going to ORD, I'm going from ORD to DTW. That's Detroit. So I know I'm leaving on the 21st of August, so I will put ORD, August 21st, and I'm leaving from Detroit on the 24th of August. I will put that down. And we're going to look at the flight schedule. If you know you want the flight that leaves Chicago at 5:20 in the morning, because that's the cheapest, write that down. If you know you want next to ORD to DTW on the 21st of August. If you know you want the schedule that leaves at um, 5 o'clock from Detroit going back to Chicago, write that down, right? I don't recommend you leave on that last flight, and this is why anything could happen. I like the middle flight because typically there's a flight in the evening that you can catch if the middle flight doesn't work out, and then there's a flight in the morning if they cancel your middle flight. I really like the middle flight or the first flight out just so I can get back home. I've been stuck before in places because I took that last flight out, and now here I am stuck and I can't get to my destination, and I don't like that. And nobody cares about if you can get to your destination or not. They really don't. They used to, but they don't care anymore. So if you are flying with Frontier, have that information on a piece of paper. Everybody who's traveling, everybody that's traveling with you, make sure you have their name, their first name, their last name, and their date of birth. Whoever's going to be responsible for the whole reservation, checking everybody in, make sure you put down their email address. So now you have one piece of paper with everybody's name and date of birth. So their first and last name and date of birth, the time, where the airport code from the destination you're leaving from, the airport code to the destination you're going to, the date and the time. If something changes, if there is a cheaper ticket, and you ask, these are the times we picked, but is there a cheaper ticket for a different cheaper ticket if we go a different time? They'll know. They have the flight schedule right in front of them. And so what happened to me, which I'm reluctant to kind of post a video, was that I was waiting in line. There was no one at Frontier except for the one gentleman, which I thought was Indian, and he's actually a Latino. And I just was waiting there because I knew his policy, because I come all the time up there. I know that he takes the customers doing the baggage first, and then he'll help you if you've been waiting there for a minute. So I was sitting there waiting. There was no other ticketing agents or at the counter. None. Then the line picks up, and then these two girls come out of nowhere. And none of them say, hey, I could get a ticket for you. Just 1 minute. They don't even acknowledge me. And the lady says to me, I can't remember it all. I can't remember it all, but there's no line. And I said, can you help me? I've been waiting here. And she starts to help me, but she's like, okay, no problem. So then she goes in, she's checking her phone. She's trying to log into the computer system. She then picks up her phone again to send somebody a full text message and try to act like her computer didn't log in, not knowing that I'm an experienced traveler and like I do this all the time. But the piece that really had me was that I wasn't even getting the ticket for myself. I was actually getting a ticket for someone else because they asked me if I could find a cheaper ticket for them. And I told them, I'll just go up there. I looked online. They said that this was the price. The price was $429. Everybody else had paid $228 per ticket. One person did, and then the other person paid $370 for 2 tickets. But the other person who got the $370 for 2 tickets bought their ticket like 2 months ago. And then the other person who paid we're going to say $289 or $229, whatever the number was that I gave out, they got it last week. But when you book a flight closer to departure, the price goes up. It's been like that forever. That has not changed. Why? Because the demand is high. I can charge you more because I know you need to get out of whatever city you in. And this is my opportunity to make money. We are in a capitalist society. We're not in a society that cares that you have an emergency and you need to get on a flight and you got to get out of this city because you got to go for a funeral. Nobody cares about that. There are no more bereavement fairs. All companies are trying to make money. The closer you wait to the time you have to travel, the more money they're going to charge you. That's the story. So I'm not even at the Frontier counter for me. I'm at the Frontier counter for somebody else. And what I didn't tell you was that I was all the way on the other side of town to go pick up my child from school, and my child wasn't there. And I forgot that I told this person I would leave my business to go get them a ticket, or at least see how much the ticket was, and then they could just Zelle me the money while I was standing there. So then I remember, so now I have to drive all the way back to the airport to get this ticket. And of course, I pulled up to the front. So now I'm going to flash forward. The line gets long for the people who have to catch their flight from Cleveland to Phoenix. And they're like, the one girl comes over, and the other, oh, you can't take her. You can't ask her ticket. Ma'am, I don't even know if I'm going to get a ticket. And then the guy who's trying to get his bags checked, he sees that my phone is on and that I'm recording. So then he goes to tell the lady who helped him get his bag, oh, she's recording. And she like, I don't need you to record. Ma'am, I don't even want you in my video. I don't care nothing about what you got going on. I said, I'm just here to show people how to, like, I don't even have to explain that to her, but nobody saw who she was. So then she doing all this extra. So then she goes behind me, and the people who were behind me, she says that she can help them. So I say, why you can't help me? Because you're recording. I told you not to record. You ain't my mama, and you can't tell me what to do. Like, even my mama don't tell me what to do all like that. So who do you think you are to tell me what I can and cannot do, and can't nobody see your face? So then I'm waiting extra because I asked the lady, I said, ma'am, why are you not taking my ticket? So then a lady comes up who I was there before she even was in line, and she verified. She was like, yeah, you was here before me. You was here way before me, and you still here. Yeah. So the lady can't get, TSA won't let her through because TSA tells her that her name on her passport and the name on her ticket have to match, and they don't match. And because they don't match, they tell her she has to go back to Frontier's counter. The ticketing agents at Frontier don't have any power or authority to do anything. In order for her to get her name changed at this stage, she is going to have to call that 1-800 number that Frontier has, or she's going to have to speak to somebody in the app, or she's going to have to go through the procedures with TSA when you don't have a real ID and when the information don't match up. And the lady at the counter don't even know what to tell her. So I tell her the same thing I just told you. And she was like, oh, for real? I said, yes. I said, when your name didn't match up. She's like, but I came here on the same ticket. I understand that. But when your name doesn't match up, that is the TSA policy. Like, you have to get your name corrected. And somebody made a mistake. Either it was you, the person who made the ticket, or the person who took your call on the other end. But you cannot go through TSA and your IDs don't match, especially if you're not a frequent traveler. When they scan your face, they look to see where all you have been. The other thing, which is a caveat, when you go out of our country, our Customs and Border Patrol knows that. They know how frequently you travel. They know when you come in. They know when you come out. They know every place that you've traveled to. I was in Mexico. I was doing the walking from San Diego to Tijuana and from Tijuana back to Mexico. And I have a video of that on this channel. And the Customs and Border Patrol agent said, do you travel a lot? And I looked at him. I said, well, what do your system say? And he laughed. Of course I travel a lot. Why would you ask me that dumb question and tell you everywhere I've been for all my life on this passport? Because it's a chip in there. And the ones with the chips on the front, they really can track you. So there is no, like, you don't know I travel. You don't know where I've been. I'm pretty sure when they scan my face, they know, like, oh, she was just here. Like, yeah, I was just here. And the fact that you have TSA, now they do the facial recognition, they do your eyes. So Clear is probably connected to the TSA system. And if you ever get Nexus, which allows you unlimited access back and forth between the US and Canada, they have a system, they do retina scans. So my retina scan is in the doggone Nexus system. And the only reason why I didn't renew my Nexus card, but my children had their Nexus card, is because I got a ticket, and the ticket was paid after the court date. So, like, let's say I was supposed to be at court at 3 o'clock, but I didn't go to court, which is the truth. I showed up at 4 o'clock, and I paid the ticket. Well, the lady, the clerk, forgot to remove the warrant off of my ID. I paid the ticket, got my receipt, I left. Well, this was during COVID, and so they sent a notice to the Customs and Border Patrol saying I had a warrant out for my arrest. Customs and Border Patrol revoked my Nexus card, and I couldn't figure out, like, what it was until a cop pulled me over, and they called the police. The police was like, oh, yeah, we need you to bring her in. And I was like, ma'am, I don't have any outstanding tickets. And I said, the only ticket it could be is this one. I showed her, and she said, that's the jurisdiction that's asking me. I said, well, ma'am, can you tell them I have a receipt for the paid in full? So she went back, she told them I had the receipt, and they was like, they still want me to come in cuffs. And she's like, I'm not bringing you in cuffs. I'm not driving you over there, and I see you have a paid in receipt. And the part that really was the icing on the cake was that they gave me money back. They didn't, like, say a zero balance. No, they gave me money back. I said, ma'am, you could look at the receipt. They gave me money back. If I still had something out on me, why would I have a receipt and they give me money back? Wouldn't they want all their money? And she was like, yeah. So I called the lady. She said, go home. Don't come back out, because if you may not get somebody nice like me. So I went home and I called them the next day on Monday. And the lady was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. You right. You paid this ticket. You still had a warrant out for your arrest. And I said, but ma'am, I lost my Nexus status because you put a warrant out and I had paid for the ticket. And she was like, I do apologize. And I said, this could have turned out worse than what it did. If I would have got into a confrontation with the police officer because they bringing me in and I know I didn't pay this ticket, I could have been dead. And she's like, I'm so sorry. It was just an oversight on my part, and on and on and on. So that's why I lost my Nexus status. But then I got Clear, and from Clear, I just went to Global Entry. So now I have Clear and Global Entry at the same time. So I do just breeze through the line because I don't like waiting in lines no more. Like, I'm upset when it's a line. But going back to Frontier, Frontier has it where you can check the status. You can request updates. Your baggage has to be paid for through the app. You cannot pay for your bags with Frontier at the ticket counter. If you pay for your bags at the ticket counter with Frontier, they are going to charge you more than if you pay for it in the app. When you come to Frontier the day of your flight, you need to arrive 2 hours before your flight. You cannot just show up 30 minutes before, think you're going to get through TSA in 10 and be at the door for Spirit in 20. Especially if you have a bag, you need to be a whole hour before your flight. Their cutoff at their kiosk is an hour. And they are no exception to their own rules. This is not Delta, this is not United, this is not American, and this is not Southwest. We are talking about a company who is founded on you paying nothing for your ticket and them trying to make the most money as they possibly can to get you from point A to point B. So you need to come to Frontier with your confirmation number. When you come to Frontier with the confirmation number, you're going to see this little kiosk that's right before you get to the ticket counter. It's typically off to the left or the right. There are typically about 6 of them. All right? You're going to put your confirmation number in, which is, I think, is letters, 6 letters or 6 letters and numbers. You're going to put that in on the thing. You're going to print off your baggage tag. If you pay for your seats with Frontier, you need to pay for them when you book, immediately after you book your flight, or you can wait for Frontier to issue you out seats. Now, more and more companies are getting away from issuing out seats when you have children and having you all together, but the law states that if you are traveling with minors cannot be unaccompanied. And the age for unaccompanied minor, I believe, is 15. Yes, even though we know 18 and under there's children, I believe the unaccompanied minor age is 15. 15, so they cannot be 16. If they're 16, they're going to sit them by themselves. But they don't allow unaccompanied minors. So because they don't allow unaccompanied minors, they cannot put a child by themselves next to a stranger. A child is considered anybody that is 15 and under. If you are 16, that is not considered a child when it comes to flying. So they are going to put you and your children together. I don't buy seats because I know they're going to put me and my kids together. I book my flight. I check in for my flight 24 hours before departure. Why? Because I want seats. I want my seats all together with my kids, and I don't want to go up there to them to tell them like they put us all over the plane. Or if I'm on United, American, and Delta, I want a good seat. And if you don't book it 24 hours in advance, guess where they're gonna put you? Right in that middle seat. And so you check in for your flight on Frontier's app. There is a button that says check in or manage reservation. Manage is when you are adding your bags, your carry-ons. I'm not paying for no carry-on, so I make sure that I have my book bag. I have an orange book bag, an orange North Face book bag that I travel with. It needs to be washed, but that's what I travel with, and I put all my stuff in there. I put my purse in there. I put my laptop in there, my earbuds, my keys, my wallet, everything go in there because you are allowed one free personal item. I do not do carry-ons. I'm not lugging. The only way I do a carry-on is if I'm on American, United, Southwest, or Delta. Everybody else, I'm not paying you to bring my own luggage onto your plane. That's what I'm not gonna do. So if, and sometimes, to be honest, Frontier, it's cheaper to check the luggage than it is to to do a carry-on. And because it's cheaper, it's just easier for me. I'm not flying on Frontier to pay more for a carry-on than I am a check luggage. And so everything is done through their app. If you need to change your flight, if they cancel your flight, I was just on a Frontier flight on August the 8th. They canceled my 11 o'clock nonstop flight. They sent me a message at 2 o'clock in the morning. I knew they had a 5:20 flight that morning, and I knew they had an evening flight. I didn't want them to cancel the evening flight, and so I got on that flight that left at 5:20. I switched my flight. At first, they were telling me they could give me my money back, but you giving me my money back, I still got to find a way home. So the only person I'm going to really fly is United, is because United has a nonstop flight, because I've flown it from Orlando before. I think they got a nonstop flight. If not, it's connecting now. But the only person I really was thinking about flying was United, because I like going to United Club. So I'm like, let me look again. Let me see if they can just change my flight to another. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough or being really focused, because it is 2 o'clock in the morning and something just told me to wake up. So I look again and it says that I can change it. So I changed my flight to the 5:20 flight. And out of nowhere, I'm getting ready. I know I got to take my video of the hotel I'm staying in, because I do that at every hotel. I got to do the short form video. I got to do the long form video. So I record all of that. And then I'm like, oh, smack, let me check my email again. They sent me a $100 gift card because they canceled my flight. I'm like, wow. Like, the customer service for Frontier online, not at the gate, not at the ticket counter. Them people they got working in the Philippines, they are super nice. Or whoever is working their back end, they doing a good job. Because I was not expecting a $100 voucher to get on Frontier anytime soon, because they canceled my flight. Like, just people, just companies, just flight companies taking care of you, knowing that, hey, we can't get you out of here. We didn't cancel your flight. We got some other issues going on. That's just rare nowadays. It's very, very rare. It didn't used to be like that. But the amount of money that we're paying to get on a flight and the lack of customer service they're offering is pathetic. Is absolutely pathetic. Like I said, Frontier, everything is done through that app. If you have an issue, just ask them for the little card. It's like a QR code on the front, and there's typically a handwritten number on the back. Call that number, speak with them, step to the side, get out of line, and just talk to them. Because when you talk to those people at that ticket counter, they may not be as friendly, you know, and it's not even worth it. So the way we ended this was that she was trying to act like she was nice, the lady who skipped over me. And I said something to the lady. I said, why didn't you say that the reason why you didn't book my ticket was not that I was not prepared, was because you were on your phone and you were texting? Like that, you have to be like honest and truthful. It's okay if you made a mistake, but then you're going to sit up there and have me going back and forth with her because you didn't own up that you didn't handle the business of the organization appropriately. You told me to come up. I came up. I gave you the information that I needed. You were not waiting on me to collect any information, but you started looking at your phone. You started sending a text message or responding to somebody on social media instead of handling your job. So then your colleagues are upset because they know a flight is about to leave out and I'm just sitting here standing. And then she got an attitude thinking I'm not going to say nothing and I'm not the right person. I'm going to say something back, which I did. And I told her, I said that she ain't gonna have her job for long because I didn't do anything to you. I didn't record you. I had it on mute most of the time when I was saying where I was going because I didn't want somebody to know where I was specifically going and what it was for. It wasn't for me. I had my other phone, which is right here that works. I had that on talking to the person who was looking for the ticket and making sure that the price was right for them. So for you to have an attitude with me talking about something, I ain't want to be recorded. I don't want your ugly butt in my doggone video. I don't even want you. I don't even want to be over here, but I'm doing somebody else a favor. And it always work out like that. Like once you're doing something nice for somebody, it's always somebody that's got to like say something to you reckless and thinking like you ain't gonna say nothing back, and they can just run their mouth, and you can't do that. You don't know who you talking to, and like you just can't do that. And so customer service is a dying art. Like it truly is a dying art. She didn't even have to say nothing. Who cares what somebody else is doing? I care nothing about what nobody else is doing. They not paying my bills. So me caring about what they doing or being entertained by what they doing means nothing to me. I'm trying to get on my flight. I'm trying to get out of here. Shoot, I'm trying to see if she want the ticket. That's all I'm trying to see. The ticket ain't even for me. I'm trying to see if somebody else want a ticket. And if this ticket is cheaper than the ticket online, which it was cheaper, but they still said they didn't want to pay that money to go to Fort Myers in Florida. Okay. Now you done just wasted my time. Now I done got into it with a lady here, and I ain't even buy nothing. And then I went over there and I told her, I said, you can't tell nobody what to do. Like nobody that's good and grown. You can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them what to do. You can't even make a suggestion because you're not running their life. You're not paying their bills. You can't make a suggestion. You making a suggestion means nothing. They don't know you. They don't care nothing about you. They don't care about your job. They don't care about none of that. And so you just have to hire people who understand that the customer is important, right? The person on the phone that I was on the phone with, they ain't never flown Frontier. That could have been a potential future customer. But because they heard the back and forth with me and you, they like, nah, I ain't dealing with that. I'd rather spend my money on United, American, and Delta. And Delta paid charge more than everybody on the face of the earth. So you lost the customer because you hire people who have no customer service skills. How do you recover a customer? You recover them by saying, sir and ma'am, I'm sorry you feel that way, ma'am. If you're talking to a woman, I'm sorry you feel that way. If they say, don't call me ma'am. Ma'am is for my mother. My name is such and such. No problem. I'm sorry. So let's say their name is Michelle. I'm sorry, Michelle, that this is happening to you. How can I come up with a solution for us both to win? It's called hospitality. You know, the symbol of hospitality is the pineapple, and the pineapple means welcome. You're not welcoming anybody into your organization. You're not welcoming anybody to your business by being mean and nasty. You're not doing none of that. The way I talk to certain people when it's business is completely different than what somebody I talk to on the side of the street that's talking crazy. The goal of every business is to increase profit. The goal of every business is not to decrease profit. And how you gonna increase profit if you being mean and nasty? You can't. You absolutely cannot. I am on here for 23 more minutes and then I'm off. But I had to talk about Frontier. Like everything for Frontier is through an app. Everything. So when you get your ticket, whoever purchases the ticket, make sure you download the app immediately. If you know you want to take a carry-on, make sure you download the app. And while we're on carry-ons, you have to take your carry-on luggage through the TSA. You cannot take liquids that are more than 3.4 fluid ounces. I don't even know if they still need to be in a bag because I ain't took a carry-on in so long. It's ridiculous. But the thing is, they used to have to be in a clear pouch, and they had to be 3.4 fluid ounces. It cannot be greater than that. You cannot take aerosols. You cannot take a gun with the gun had an ammunition in it or some craziness. But you got to go to their website and look up all their rules. Like you trying to get through the line. Remember, you dealing with people when you get to TSA. They maybe travel once a year. They don't travel every month. They don't travel every week. So they don't know that you got to take off your shoes if you don't have pre-check. You got to take the laptop out and put it in a separate container. You got to take all electronic devices, the tablets, the phones, and put them on. And sometimes your watch got to come off too, depending on the person. If you're traveling with children, you typically don't go through the one where you have to do your hands like this and stand. You normally just walk through the metal detector, which I kind of think that's a dumb rule, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. And let me tell you why. Because a kid could go to jail for life because their parent don't love them and trying to do something illegal. That's why I think that's a dumb rule. That's why I really think that's a dumb rule. But nevertheless, the point of this story is that with children, you walk through the metal detector. One person goes at a time, and they do open it up. The children do not stand in the thing that go like this. Then if you have certain health conditions, like maybe you got a fake boob, because my aunt just did my children for unaccompanied, and she was like, I ain't going through the thing that go like this. I'm going to go through the metal detector. And they was like, well, ma'am, you have to go through this. And she was like, I got TSA pre-check. My aunt is a traveler as well. And yes, she is off the hook. But with Frontier, everything is done through the app. Everything. You know, a man asked me for advice. I told him you have to put in your confirmation number over there at the kiosk and you will get your baggage tag. And he was like, no, I don't have to do that. Oh, okay. So he went up to the ticket counter, and guess what he had to do? Go over to the kiosk and put his confirmation number in and print off his baggage tag. Frontier don't care. They not they is not American, United, and Delta. They not even Southwest. They don't care. They don't care about you and what you got going on. Only thing you need to expect when you fly Frontier is that you're going to get from point A to point B safely. That's it. The seat is not going to be comfortable. Don't even think the seat is going to be comfortable. It's not going to be leather. Maybe it is leather, but it's going to feel like a bucket, like you just sitting in a bucket. It used to. I don't even know if they still feel like buckets back there, but it used to feel like a bucket, like seriously like a bucket, like, oh my goodness, this is so uncomfortable. But I think they upgraded to leather, but it's not like cushion leather like American, United, and Delta. There is nothing cushion about that seat. There is no extra foam underneath your butt or none of that on Frontier. And they charge you. There is no free snacks. If you want to snack on Frontier, you're going to pay for it. That's if you want some water, you're going to pay for your water. If you want some swoofles or whatever them little wafer with the caramel inside is called, you're going to pay for that too. There is nothing Frontier is giving you for free at all on their flight unless you wait to check in to get your seat assignment. That's it. I do recommend that. Because oftentimes the flight is not full and you can always move your seat to somewhere else. You can ask. You can't just get up and go. You just simply ask the flight attendant, hey, if nobody's sitting there, is it okay if I move my seat? And they can say yes or no. That is their choice. Normally they say yes, but this whole balancing the flight, I would like to know more information about that, because didn't you know, you don't know how much I weigh. I could be 500 pounds. And how you talking about you got to balance the flight? How you don't know how much somebody weighs. You don't know if somebody is a kid. Well, yes, you do know what a kid is. But what if the kid is obese and they weigh 150 pounds and they 8 years old? You don't know if the kid is, 60, 70 pounds or if they're 150 pounds. So with that being said, how you balancing the flight? Like, there is no scales that you get on before you get on the flight. You can do assumptions, but you still don't know. So we gonna block this whole middle section off so we can balance the flight. I would like to know the logic behind that. I really want to know. I want to see somebody come on here and tell me the logic behind balancing the flight, because I don't see any logic behind that. What else with Frontier? Everything is just a fee. Everything. The only way you don't pay no fees is if you know you're going for like one day or a couple of days and all your stuff will fit in a book bag and you pack light. That's another thing. Don't bring jeans and don't bring 5 pair of shoes. You gotta have like light clothes. Normally polyester clothing, not cotton. Roll it up, so fold it and like just roll it, and then make it like look like French fries inside of your book bag. That's the best way to pack if you're trying to pack light. Your underwear, your bras, your boxers, if you're a guy, whatever it may be, roll that stuff up. Do not fold it. You gotta roll it. You want to roll it and make it as flat as possible so it can fit in there. All your stuff will fit in there. Like my book bag has a slot for my laptop, and then it's 2 sides on the thing where I can add, like, hook on my tennis shoes, or I can hook on, I can put bottles in there for the water, like if I want to do the empty water bottle and put it in the arm, the sides of the back of the pockets on the book bag. So then that way, I seen some people take their neck pillows and they took the cushion out and they put clothes in the neck pillow. I ain't doing all of that. I want my neck pillow to work. And I don't even have a neck pillow. I normally just take the things on the plane and put them right by my head and go to sleep like this. So then my head is like that, going back and forth. But that's, again, on American, United, and Delta. I don't even know if Southwest does that because I'm not a big Southwest fan. But Southwest did get me out of Jamaica 2 years ago. If it wasn't for Southwest, I would have been stuck in Jamaica during Hurricane Beryl. Like, that one, that was my first time being in a category. What was that? Category 4 hurricane. I don't live anywhere near hurricanes, and that was my first time being in a category 4 hurricane. And the way them trees was leaning, I mean, they were leaning. I was kind of scared, but I had so much going on that year. That was 2024. I will never forget that. And then the next year, the hurricane, and that was July 4th weekend. Then the next year, another hurricane came. I ain't been to Jamaica since 2024. And one of my ex-colleagues was like, how many times have you been to Jamaica since you left here? I ain't even telling you, because if you knew, I am never probably going back to Jamaica again unless somebody pay for it. I am not getting stuck in a hurricane. Like, I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like the feeling that I didn't know how I was going to get out because my flights kept getting canceled. I did appreciate that Southwest put in extra flights to get all of us out of there, out of that country. I was very appreciative of that, but it was very chaotic leaving out because it was so many of us that were leaving. And so I just don't recommend it. Like, I don't recommend going to Jamaica no more. Like, where else you want to go? You want to go to Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire? Like, they rarely get a hurricane. So you can go there. I don't recommend anybody else, especially this time of year. I know a woman that I follow, she's in Aruba right now, and she was like, oh my goodness, the wind is so high. I'm like, yeah, okay, good luck with that. I'm just praying you get back safely. I ain't going nowhere because I don't want to get stuck. Like, I had a bad experience. And it's not that I will never go back. I just won't go back in the summertime. Like, there are things to do in the States that are just as beautiful and just as nice, if not nicer, because you're in the States. But with Frontier, I just wouldn't try them. I really wouldn't. I just, if you've never flown, and ask, go early. Like, go maybe 3 hours before your flight. Yes, you will have a lot of dead time at the airport, but just go like 3 hours before your flight so you really understand and they can be patient with you. Because when that line gets, a lot of people don't handle pressure well. And I will say most of the time Frontier hires people that do not handle pressure well. The last ticket I bought, the lady was really nice. And I was like, wow. I even commended her on how nice they were, because the lady in front of me took forever to book her tickets. And then the lady was just so nice to her. And the lady who was helping me was like, yeah, she's new. That's why she doing that. Like, oh, smack. But with that, once you go and you get your boarding pass, if you download the app, the boarding pass will be on your phone. And I know for the iPhone, you can add it to your Apple Wallet. So when you go to TSA, you just need your real ID and you need your boarding pass. And typically they ask for your real ID, right? Do they ask for your ID? I can't even remember, because I didn't try to like kind of overlook it. Normally I stand in front of the camera, they take the picture, and they be like, where are you going from? I tell them, and then they be like, okay. So I think they scan my kids' boarding passes when they travel with me. So they will scan the kids' boarding passes, but they won't scan the adults' boarding passes, I think. I can't remember. I'm not even going to sit up here and act like, because I do it so frequently, that once you do something so frequently, you tend to forget the process. But they do scan my kids' boarding passes, and then they ask them, who am I to them? Who is this? Who is she to you? Those are the questions they ask all the time. They never switch it up, and they ask them what their name is. And then they have to identify themselves. But I've never not had my real ID. I almost left it in California at the beginning of in the middle of July. So like a couple of weeks ago, I almost left it in California. because I threw it away in my sweet green bag. So anytime I go to a state that sells sweet green, I always I always stop at Sweet Green, like all the time. All the time. It just never fails. I don't care what state I'm in. If there's a Sweet Green, I'm stopping at Sweet Green. I'm getting me a salad and I'm gonna keep it moving. So yeah, I left my wallet. I have a billfold, so I left the billfold. I had dropped it in a Sweet Green bag, and then I threw away the bag with the trash from my salad. And then I went to go see my cousin. I filled up the EV vehicle because in California you have to fill up at a minimum of 80%. So I filled up the EV vehicle to 80, and then I was like, oh smack, I don't have my ID. So I had to go back to my cousin's house, get my billfold out of the trash that I threw it in, which it was in there. And then in the meantime, I had to book a flight on United because I was concerned that I wasn't going to make my flight on Frontier, which I didn't make my flight on Frontier because at LAX, they have a shuttle that you have to get on to go from the terminal to where the planes take off. And so I went to the terminal where the planes, like the part where you go through TSA, and then I had to wait for the shuttle, and I was like, oh, I gotta go. I didn't miss my flight because we waited here for like 20 minutes for the shuttle to come at this wing that Frontier has, which the wing is nice. I can give them that. It's a very nice wing. It was newly remodeled. You can see it. It's beautiful in there. But now I didn't miss my flight, so now I got to leave from the Frontier side. I got to catch the bus to the United side to hop on my flight to go on United. And Frontier ended up giving me my money back for that flight. Oh, no, they gave me a credit. They gave me a credit for that flight. And so I used that credit to go to Florida for the one way down. And then I got $100 back. So then I kind of got my money back for the voucher, if you look at it that way. But when you go to LAX, remember, you have to take a shuttle from where the where you deplane at to the main terminal and to the luggage. That's a shuttle bus. From ticketing to where you board the plane is a shuttle bus in LAX. And I had talked briefly, but we haven't seen anything yet. When they really get tired of these ticketing agents, they're gonna put the scales. They had them at Spirit at LAX, and they have them at Air Canada when you are in Toronto. So basically, it's a machine. You type in your confirmation number. You put your baggage up there. If your baggage is over, baby, your bag ain't going nowhere. That scale, that computer in that scale for your bags, it ain't going nowhere. And it literally sits there and gives you an error message and kicks the bag. Like, it goes like, nope, you need to take this out. And they had it at Spirit at LAX. I have not seen it any other place since then. That was in 2022. I have not seen it at any other airports for any other carriers. If they're somewhere else, I'm going to let you know when I see it, when I arrive in that city. But they were at Air Canada in Toronto, and they were at Spirit at LAX. And it weighs, they pre-program it with the weight. Oh, I forgot to say this. Your bag can only weigh 40 pounds for Frontier. If it is over 40 pounds, they are going to charge you. I don't know what you got to do to figure out how much your bag weighs, but you need to do whatever you need to do. If you got a scale at home, you need to weigh it on your scale. Do they have travel scales? Yes, they do have travel scales. But you need to weigh your bag before you get to Frontier, because if it is over, they are charging you. Now, I saw the lady, she let somebody go when I was up there looking for a ticket for somebody else. Their bag was at 41. They let me go at 41.52. But I don't know if you at 50. 50 is not Frontier. 50 is American, Delta, United, and Southwest. Everybody, Frontier is 40 pounds. Everybody else is 50. And then now with some of those carriers, you have to pay for bags, even if you go to Mexico. It used to be international. You got, 2 free bags. Not anymore. Like, Mexico is not considered international anymore, even though it is, and you need a passport. You have to pay for your bags on your flight to Mexico. Now, if you're going to Singapore or Asia, I don't know about Europe because I don't really go to Europe that much. I went to Europe last year in January. Well, February. I went in February. I went to London. And I missed my flight. And so at London Airport, their cutoff is an hour. You cannot get past their like customs, or like if it's an hour before your flight, ain't no getting past. They say you cannot board. You need to go back to the ticket counter. So they had to rebook my flight, and the lady was like, "This is your fault." My fault? I didn't know that y'all stop people from coming through an hour before their flight is scheduled to leave. So in London, at London Heathrow with American, if you are not behind, if you are not scanned in to go through their border patrol, or like their version of TSA, an hour before your flight, they're going to deny you through that area. And then they randomly selected me out of all the people. So I think one of the reasons why I'm not flying as much, especially international, is because I don't like getting pulled over to the side. And when I say pulled over, I mean like literally like, oh, we're going to check you. Or I don't like getting the 4S's because you travel too much and they're trying to figure out who you are and why you always on a plane. I just don't like that. Well, when everybody else, they'll let them go by and whatever you, but they'll pick me out of all people. I'm like the most common human being on the face of the earth. How you pick me? I don't look even suspicious. And there is nothing about me that looks suspicious. I don't do nothing suspicious because I want to get to where I got to go and get back to where I got to go. Like, I don't do anything. And so I think that's why. Because when I went to London, yeah, but that didn't happen in Antigua. That didn't happen on China either when I went to China and Taiwan. But they did, yeah. I need to post my videos from China and Taiwan. That was actually a good experience. Yeah, I want to know how much longer. I don't think Frontier is going to be here that much longer. Now that Spirit is gone, I don't think they're going to be here that much longer. I really don't. The only way I think they can overcome is if they improve their customer service, and I think they're trying. I believe that they're trying, but I don't think they have many more years left. I don't see them being around another 10 years. And if they are, they have to completely transform their business model. I think they know that based on, like I said, they have the call center in the Philippines now that handles all of their domestic issues because they're pretty much, a national airline and they go to international locations. But I just don't think with the closing of Spirit, and Spirit has really packed up their equipment and they're no longer in a lot of the cities. I don't see them being around much longer. I don't. I hope you subscribe to this channel. Every video on here was filmed by me. It is part of an experience that I've had. Every story that I tell is from the years of travel that I've traveled throughout the country and the world.
Where has this been all of? If you need a new morning.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I guess I'm getting bored right now. But where is your dream vacation? Somebody's on here. And you've been watching, or you've been jumping in and out watching. So I thank you for tuning in. My goal is to come on here an hour a day. I guess I got to do it 62 days for it to become a habit. But it's so easy for me to talk about travel. It's so easy for me to talk in general. As you can tell, I rarely get tired. But Frontier, everything is on that app. If you don't remember anything else about this conversation, remember that you have to do everything on the app. Your luggage needs to be purchased before you arrive at the airport. You need to purchase your carry-on before you arrive at the airport. If you ask that gate agent or that ticket counter lady about your bag that's that you didn't put in the app, you're going to pay more money to them. There is no cash. I don't even think they still have the credit cards where you could put the cash at the airport on and then pay with like a prepaid card. I don't know if they still have that. They used to have it, but with the ease of everybody getting prepaid cards, I don't think it's really needed no more. Even with every bank account, they give you a prepaid card. Like they give you that Cash App card. They give you a PayPal card. Everybody has a card now. So yeah, But I am about to get off of here. If you did not subscribe, I ask that you subscribe to this channel. You support me. I thank you to all of the likes. They are increasing. I just need my channel to subscribe. I need you to subscribe. If you like to travel, follow along with me. I don't tell you even half the places I've gone to because I keep it private until after I've left. If you've never traveled, somebody asked me, this is going to take me a little bit longer than 30 seconds. So somebody asked me, they were like, how do you get to travel? I like traveling. Like some people like going shopping. Some people like collecting cars. Some people like buying luxury things or what have you. I like to travel. That I just love to travel. Like if I could do anything, and the highlight of my summer has been the ability to go to California and sit at the Pacific Ocean. Because every time I go, I'm like, dang, this water is getting greener and greener. Like, I do not like the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know what it is about the Atlantic Ocean. Well, yes, I do know what it is. The Atlantic Ocean makes me feel like somebody is trying to kill me. It feels like somebody is like sucking me in and pulling me towards them. Like it just feels like a constant, like, come on, let's go. I don't have that feeling at the Pacific. And so I just sat there and recorded my whole day at the Pacific Ocean with the ocean rolling in, waves coming in. It was just so relaxing. And then my daughters was acting like they didn't want to be there, but they were enjoying themselves. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I hope the week starts off fabulous for you. And with that being said, I have done my hour and I'm gone. All right, take care. Bye-bye.